Right, welcome back. So I level up Maya and I gave her a new ability, which is this, evasive roll. So if anybody gets near her, she'll just dive out the way. But I was just looking at her behaviour editor. Here's Maya. And she should be using Smoke Veil if any, if there's any enemies in range. I'll remove the allies one actually. That way she'll automatically Smoke Veil. Hopefully that'll work. The idea is for her to just get the fuck out of the way and start shooting again. And she's set to roll towards the nearest ally or it's out of the way.
Bad.
Rhyming Hazanui with kablooey?
I can't think of anything else that goes with Hazanui.
Gooey?
Me neither. That's why I leave epics to the lore college.
Criticism is easier than creation.
Actually, Gooey is probably not much better.
We here.
There.
Yeah? Well, don't see why not.
Oh, you're hiding something under your pillow, are you, boy? Thanks for that, Maya. Hello, Atsura. The man behind the desk regards you with attentive, unblinking eyes and perfectly open expression. His smooth features make it hard to pinpoint his age, though the crinkles at the corners of his eyes suggest he's not especially young. He cocks his head, taking your measure, and he pauses before speaking just a little longer than seems normal. When he finally does, he seizes you by the shoulders and wraps you in an abrupt but warm embrace. The gesture's so sudden and so over quickly that when he steps back and resumes his politely professional manner, it's almost as if it never happened.
Watcher Nui, the Lord of Cadnua.
As a Nui is a term for big, so the Grand would probably be a better translation than a big. As in Grand Admiral, Grand whatever. He seeks Grand Watcher. Gives you a sleek half smile and reveals a row of perfect pointed teeth. Insight, in his careful stare and the pauses before he speaks, you recognise that he's studying you.
I'm not one for ostentation, but your remarkable display at Queen's birth suggests that you are an individual with skills, not mere style.
I think I've got plenty of both, yeah.
So I see.
He blinks, perhaps the first time since your conversation began.
I am Atsura, Grand Secretary of the Royal Deadfire Company.
It sounds like a significant title, but he's strangely emotionless. He might as well be describing the colour of his clothing. I think I'm liking that. He doesn't regard the title as something that defines him. He just thinks it's something necessary to have. What's your business here? What's your business here?
Rawatai has long maintained trade interests in the region. While our homeland is rich in saltpeter, the violent climate and rocky soils make it a poor source for most other basic staples. It's my business to look after the mainland's interests here.
It's an honour to meet you then.
And it's a pleasure to meet someone of your elegant manners. I wish I had been there to see your grand entrance at the palace, but I avoid Serpent's Crown as much as possible.
I know the feeling.
It is a place of entirely too much talk, and I find that the more talk one hears, the less it means.
You don't sound like you're entirely at ease with your neighbours here.
Such is the world we live in. Were it different, all the locksmiths and masons in Eora would be out of work.
Fair point.
And here our neighbors include a nation of pirates and a fractured people led by a figurehead. To say nothing of the Valians. Leave it to them to observe a substance that occurs nowhere else on Eora, and immediately set about pulverizing it for profit.
And they're also using it to advance the science of animancy.
For now. But what will ultimately win out? The Valians' drive for innovation, or their hunger for wealth? Besides, we know too little about luminous Adra to understand the consequences of ripping it out. Perhaps you can help me keep them from doing more harm.
If there's a problem, I'll help however I can.
It's not about what the Valians are doing to us, but rather to all of the Deadfire.
Maya likes my dutiful nature.
The demand for luminous Adra has sent the Valian Trading Company into a frenzy.
Thank fuck I didn't have Palagina here. She would have been going bonkers at this guy.
Their expeditions grow too bold, and their officers too greedy. Worse, their rapid expansion attracts pirates and threatens the outlying Juana tribes. This risks souring the Kahanga royals against all foreign involvement.
Now, Carrie upstairs did warn us that this guy likes to obscure his motives when she was talking about the game.
But you can curtail their growth.
This isn't about the welfare of Deadfire. This is about them outpacing you.
By snapping up land we need to grow food and build ships for our people? Indeed. But our interests and Deadfire's are not mutually exclusive. The Valians have sent an expedition to Pococahara, a storm-wrecked island believed to house a vein of luminous. I hear you accomplished an incredible feat in restoring the luminous Adra near Port Maje. If your abilities allow you to do that, then perhaps you are also capable of the opposite. Find the luminous Adra at Pococahara. Render it unusable to the Valians. This should encourage them to develop the resources they have, rather than reaching for more.
I thought you were concerned about disturbing luminous Adra.
Deeply. But if a small sacrifice here will discourage the Valians from further ventures, then it is a worthwhile risk.
Well, we'll see. I'll decide when I get there.
Deadfire is a tumultuous place. Consider the value of an ally with ships, cannons, and the backing of a great empire. I do not have the precise location of Pococahara, but the tribe on the nearby island of Tikawara could probably help. I suggest starting there. Now, what else can I do for you?
Farewell. Righty-ho. Pococahara. I can't help myself. Why is a garden sale? No, hang on, I want to go get these supplies that were outside. Pococahara. Come on! You can't help it. I can't help it. That's got to be a song. You can't name it Pococahara and not have it the singy sing sing. Yeah, I said back in here. Oh, hang on, there's a dog! There's a dog! Oh, I go back for the dog! Slam the brakes on! I just look left and I go in and I see the dog and I'm slamming the brakes on and he comes to the back of me and I'll come crashing through the door. Ah. Give me a pup. Ooh. Ooh. I'm gonna have to buy a menagerie for those animals. It's only like £2.5 grand. I can afford that at this point. But I'm pretty sure my ship doesn't have. Does it? Unless it's those spare upgrades on the right next to the wheel, with the wheel and the lanterns and all that. Right. Well, what am I going to buy it? We'll find out. I don't care. The wild mare. The Valera estate is closest. Yeah. Oh, I can just go straight here to shop. Nice! Menagerie. I don't want 90 menageries, I only want one. Let's quickly sell off any shit that's in the inventory. Bring everything down to 4 apart from torches, because we can probably use them in interactions if we need to. Oh, let's be honest, how many interactions do we get with torches? I sold all my armour that wasn't fine, or at least. I'll keep the Valerian cape for Palagina just for funsies, and that'll be it. Right. Thank you. Now, leave I see. Cancel, I might have a look at my tasks first. Do. Oh, right, so this will be a permanent ship this goes on. Okay. Well, we'll have it there from when we get our bigger ship. That's a fair point. Okay, yeah, so. Mapping the archipelago will be the first one we do. And we come across that captain while we're on. Ooh, wow! Oh, come on! No, why did you get that in my head? No, the game hates me. No, we'll see how long our supplies last. My daughter better not be fucking drinking. Vila, you start drinking alcohol and I'm waste. Cool. As you ready your ship, a cloak figure mounts a gangplank and roughly forces a burned book into your hands. They turn and depart without a word. Read. The binding of this tome reeks of smoke, and what few pages remain are crinkled and black. Based on the few chapters headers that survived the fire damage, this may have been a book of antiquated laws, and now it's nothing more than a charred relic of authority. So this will be Wodaka's then, Book of Law, and since it's burned, it's probably because Magrin burnt her.
You crack the spine of the old book, revealing blackened pages of dense, illegible text. The words recede into the shadows the longer you focus on them. Suddenly, the page widens to eclipse the world around you. A dark void stretches out on all sides. The air full of choking fumes that carry dying embers and curling flakes of ash.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Something stirs in the An old woman steps forward, leering down at you from on high. Her smile is toothy and cruel. Her cheeks warp around it like melted candle wax.
I'm so glad that my messenger tracked you down. These days it's impossible to find good help.
Priest of Boudica and a paladin of Steel Garrote. Holy shit, that is a really specific fucking one here. You'd have to multi-class as a Priest of Boudica and a paladin of Steel Garrote, which I'm assuming is her paladins. Hello, Boudica.
Watcher, before you draw your weapon, know that these proceedings are under a banner of peace. If this was a trap, it would have already closed around you.
I like how her face is burned.
While Bareth whispers in one ear and Aethys shouts in the other, I thought you could use a more seasoned perspective to drown out the noise.
So you dragged me into a Boston Inferno. Was the ruse with the poop really necessary? Yeah. Was the ruse really necessary?
For the moment, you are Bareth's creature. There are rules against my direct intervention, but nothing says you cannot willingly seek my counsel. Andra and Helia toe the line of acceptable conduct from time to time, but I am nothing if not adherent to our oldest laws.
Yes, is regarding Andra being and talking through what's his name? He's not a party, I keep forgetting his fucking name. Takehu. Tentaku. Yeah, Tentakahu. And Hylia's and Ishiza. But you don't know that yet unless you actually get Maya to like you more. I'm intrigued, let's talk. Okay, so let's talk.
Don't you find it unusual how open and accessible my siblings have made themselves? After millennia of subdued whispers, now they practically scream their intentions.
Well, to be honest with you, if you kept someone in the house on their own, unable to talk to anybody, and then you gave them anybody to talk to, like the Watcher's the one person that the gods can talk to, they would practically be like, ah! Yeah, so no, it's not unusual.
And isn't it strange how we never bicker unless a mortal is watching?
What's your point?
If we still possessed our glorious titans, my siblings and I would have put an end to Aethys and his rampage by now.
WoW still has Titan. Yeah, WoW still has his Titan. Anyway.
While we are powerless to stop him, some of my kin wish to observe how mortals respond to this threat. They think it will shine a light on the value of our patronage. Have we raised you well enough to be self-sufficient? Or must we return to Eora and impose some corrective measures?
And if we prove ourselves, what then?
What indeed? That would depend on which of us you ask. A cross-section of society has converged on the Deadfire. Some of my kin are of an opinion that we are meant to judge mortals on the basis of their performance, while the rest of us have already made up our minds on the matter.
So why do I get the feeling you're trying to convince me of something?
Judge for yourself. But I think you'll find my intentions are more straightforward than you think. When we ascended to godhood, we did so to provide for a savage people. Our goal was to craft a society whose values were made to last. Perhaps even a society that had no need of us. A naive fallacy, but one that inspired my optimistic, misguided kin. How you and your allies counter this threat will demonstrate whether you are competent enough to guide your own destinies, or if we need to revise our strategy. The soft-hearted among us are counting on you to win this existential wager. No doubt, Aethys shares their sympathies. I do not. We exist to rule over mortals. Nothing can change that.
Yeah, no, Aethys... Yeah, Aethys does want mortals to not rely on the gods, but he's going about it the wrong way.
So now you know the truth. I assume you have questions.
Yeah, my actions alone can prove that society is moral.
Prove it or disprove it, yes. I never agreed to this arrangement, but if your example demonstrates mortal ineptitude, as I trust it will, then I can make the plan serve me. An assertive minority of gods believe that your choices will prove the value of their wild optimism. As if mortal collaboration and ingenuity are endorsements of our leadership. Then there are those of us who know better, who are not so easily convinced.
I see, I might be sassy to her and say, so what if I prove you wrong? Will you apologise to me?
Kith are vulnerable, unless they submit to the destiny we chart for them. Thinking otherwise can only breed dissent and chaos.
Why did you choose to confide in me?
Whether knowingly or unintentionally, you seem to find yourself on the vanguard of change. Mortals like you come but once in a lifetime. Some would react poorly if I stripped mortals of their freedom without giving them a chance to plead their case. You have the honor of standing tall as their advocate. Before I return to Eora and assume my position as your deserving tyrant, you have this opportunity to prove me wrong. To demonstrate whether or not mortals are responsible enough to claim their future.
Yeah, I see.
Mortals have precious little time to decide for themselves. Will they stand together as one, or swallow their pride and bend the knee? I have every confidence that you will disappoint us. Once my position is upheld, the undecided among the gods will embrace my plan.
Tell me about this enlightened society that you wanted.
It was an ambitious plan, our utopia. Perhaps too ambitious. We ascended to power, responding to a need inadequately satisfied. Assuming these roles gave us the authority to mold Eora over time, to influence you and lay the groundwork for a society yet to come. On the outset of the plan, some believed that mortals would outgrow us, as if that was a favorable outcome. To me, our eternal pantheon was always a critical fixture. Aethys was one of those who supported mortals, while I have always been their most vocal critic.
Why? How would you even recognize that ideal society?
A valid, self-defeating question, and one which I posed often. We assumed that they, whoever they were, would reveal themselves to us. Rational government would rule in our stead, leaving churches vacant. Thanks to Aethys, we're pulling the dough from the oven before it's had a chance to fully rise. You've learned much already. Only ask if you are ready for the truth.
What did I just click on? Are your opinion of mortals changed at all?
Nothing you've done has tarnished it utterly beyond repair. You may congratulate yourself on that much, at least.
Talk about the wheel and the true rise to godhood.
The wheel is our shared responsibility, and each of us serves it in our own fashion. I am the axle upon which the gods balance their power. Aethys keeps the wheel in motion. He was our promise to mortals that time and labor would yield a deserving reward on the next turning of the cycle.
How did the Griffins become gods?
At the height of our power, we recognized the potential of the soul. We knew that it could be bound, split apart, diverted like a river, and hammered together. Hammering was trivial. Those of us who agreed with the Apotheosis Project, and many who did not, submitted to a violent and horrible erasure of our individuality. After the dust settled, we adopted the forms of beings from Eora's most prevalent myths. There were other faiths and legends, but we labored to strike their names from history.
How exactly does the wheel function?
Much of reincarnation's mechanism exists in the idea space of the beyond. You wouldn't find a wall of cogs and levers unless we conjured one to illustrate a point. The wheel has but one material component in all of Eora, something we built to channel essence through luminous Adra and into the beyond with reliable continuity. Before we intervened, the flow of essence was directionless, unpredictable. We succeeded in widening the gap, diverting it, giving it an efficient path to follow.
Reincarnation existed before you though, so why not leave it alone?
Before we took control of the wheel, reincarnation was error-prone, lacking forward momentum. Hollowborn were fairly common, and hardly the worst of the soul maladies. Control gave us the power to strengthen the souls of intelligent kith over generations. We made you wiser, stronger, more likely to develop the society we thought you deserved. Every turning of the cycle demonstrated the righteousness of my belief. Nature begets chaos, and discipline begets perfection. Speak, Watcher. It isn't every day that I open myself to these communions, so spend your breath wisely.
Okay, we'll speak again. Goodbye.
Yes, I think we will. This is not the end of our discussion. You know how to find your way back to this place.
Wotica nods stiffly. You feel her presence drift as a breeze, rustling as it goes.
Right, we'll pause there and we'll end the episode, and then next episode we're going to go find